Hi, everyone. We're welcome to the show. We are here today talking with another mom. Her name's Kara, and she's got some really, I hope everyone will agree, some exciting news coming up and something that everyone can share in. So let's bring Kara on and we'll get started. My name is Don Stott. I am a father who experienced estrangement from one of my adult children firsthand. Welcome to Beyond the Pain, a place where parents of estranged adult children can find peace and healing. In each episode, I hope to share stories that'll help you through some of your darkest hours, to bring this out of the shadows and stop being ashamed, then to build you up and inspire you to love yourselves even more.
Hi, Don.
Hi there, Kara. How are you today?
I am great, thank you.
Very
It's great
good.
to see
Well,
you.
you as well. You as well. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I know we've been introduced in the peace group, and you've worked with Amy, and you've got a. I'll let you tell people about what's coming up here in a few minutes, but so it's good to meet and good to get this going. Like I think we've talked about before. I'd like to get a lot of other people's stories and how they dealt with what we're dealing with and stuff, and hopefully help some of those new people out there that or the other people out there that are going through this like we have.
Absolutely.
So why don't you start out telling us a little bit about yourself, and then we can kind of get into your story and then your news after
Well,
that.
I grew up. I have a sister and my mother and father. We lived in a small town in Massachusetts, and um, it was a nice upbringing.
Okay.
My mom um, my mom got cancer when she turned 50 years old. So
Mm,
we were young in our 20s when she became ill,
okay.
and um, we watched her as her life evolved, and she became macrobiotic and had stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and realized that she found a group on death and dying, and um, my father would take her to Connecticut every week and take her to this group with Dr. Bernie Siegel. And she was able to go around a table where there was literature and find resources of how she
Mm,
was going to live her best life till she passed.
okay.
Um, she found macrobiotics, which is an all natural organic healing.
Oh,
And
okay.
she is still with us, and she is 82 now,
That's
celebrating a
amazing.
birthday coming up.
Wow.
And she
She was wait
decided
a minute, now she was stage 4?
she was stage
And
4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. She was considered an incurable.
wow.
Um, and so what she decided to do with her life, and my father, he would assist cancer patients and people suffering from illness. And um, they devoted their life to helping others that wanted to follow this pathway of natural eating and organic living. And she's now 82, and they have helped numerous people extend their lives by
Wow.
living this way. So when frustrations, adversity comes up in our family, we grew up knowing that it's important to give back and share.
Right.
And I guess that's where I get my sense of wanting to do this vigil. Um, I had a family with my 2 sons and their father, and unfortunately, that marriage did not work out.
Right.
Uh, and I did remarry many years later to my husband now, who is a wonderful man. Um, my boys, we tried to blend a family together, and for the most part, it went well, but there were challenges, of course.
Sure.
And as as time came up, it became more challenging for my youngest. And 6 years ago, he estranged. And that was the first time that the family had dealt with estrangement.
Okay.
Um,
And for the other stuff
when
that you as a younger age went through, that, wow, that must have been
it was
a foreign
traumatic.
concept.
It was, and my boys were very young at the time. When my mom was diagnosed, they were just babies.
Yeah.
My family had to move away. My father felt it was important for them to move to Florida and be in better climate as well, and that's where they reside today. But because having children, I needed to stay in my state,
Sure.
and so family was all at a distance.
Yeah.
So when my marriage, when we knew it was unfortunately ending, it was very long and lonely to raise two boys alone, and I did the very, very best I could as a mom.
Yeah.
Never perfect as a parent. None of us
Never
ever
are.
do
No.
perfect parenting, but did the best that I could under the circumstances.
Yeah.
Gratefully met my husband and tried to cohese. He has two sons. I call them my bonus sons. And I have two sons. So
Yeah.
trying to bring the four of them together and give them something that they did not, all four of them did not have, brought up challenges at times. And
Sure.
some were seen and some were unforeseen. So unfortunately, my youngest chose while he was living with us to estrange. And that was the first time 6 years ago.
Yeah.
He did come back and try to regroup with the family. But unfortunately, when you estrange, I've learned many times estrangement can happen repeatedly.
Right.
So a second time came and he estranged again. On the third time, just a few years back, my oldest estranged with him.
Mm.
And the difficult part was he's trying to support his brother, and they're trying to find their own identities.
Right.
But my oldest got married at that time to his high school sweetheart, and we were not invited to the wedding, which made it quite painful.
Yeah.
We went through the hardship of, I went through the hardship of the anger, the pain, the isolation, the shame, the sadness, all those feelings that come up with estrangement. Feeling it's got to be completely my fault and I'm totally responsible.
Of course. And you're the only one in the world.
The only one in the world dealing with this, Don.
Right. We all felt it.
We all feel this way. I know we all feel this way. And I got some counsel for that as well. And I think the hardest part for myself over these past 6 years has been trying to get off that fence. You're on the fence because you've been working through the pain and the disarray and all that's gone on, and coming to terms with the radical acceptance, the reality of what it is what it is, and right. That and I felt like I had to come to this place where I could just completely turn it over and choose to step forward and be able to the first time take vacations knowing they weren't coming with us, make memories knowing they weren't coming with us. We had a pup that we all loved. He was called our golden child. And because the whole family just rallied around our dog.
Yeah.
And so when our dog Titan passed, I didn't know how we could ever get another dog because right. They wouldn't be there. And so to over now we have two. So you can see obviously having to get on the other side of that fence.
Sure.
But it took a lot of fortitude, strength for myself, prayer, turning it over and giving myself permission finally to live my best life without their presence, not without them, but without their presence, knowing that
Right.
someday if they come back, they'll know that I've continued on with my life and I can make those memories, make other memories with them again, if that happens.
Right.
And if
Right.
it does not happen, at least they know that I've lived my best life. But I know for myself, I needed to be with a community. And when you're alone, I'm not big on the web. I'm not big on the internet. I'm not big on social media.
Yeah.
It's just not my forte. Um, I keep rather private, but I felt the need to go online and read about estrangement, find out about it.
Hmm.
I came across Peace,
And so
Peace
that was probably
International,
what, about 5
PEAC.
years after
Th That
it
was 5
started?
years after.
Wow.
Absolutely. So for
Wow.
5 years, kind of going it alone, thinking
Oh
I'm
my
the only
goodness.
one, you know, and then crossing over that bridge to start living my life, and then I realized I need to see if there's anyone else out there. So
Right.
when I saw PEAC International, I quickly wrote to Amy Palmer, emailed her, and said, Amy, I need to participate. I
Right.
need to see what this is all about. I was moved when I saw all the faces of other people that were lined up in front of me with
Right.
their first names so that you could connect with them and learn where they're from and then hear her speak and hear her story. I got off that call that night, went to my husband and said, "Oh my gosh, my people are out there."
That's
I didn't
awesome.
know there was a group out there. I didn't
Yeah.
know there were others dealing with this out there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And hearing Amy speak and hearing her calling for creating this group of Peace International so that others, even though she's not a professional, but finding others and being a mother and a founder and a support and a resource person of positive influence on this subject for others to get help
Right.
and grow and learn and find peace with all of that's going on as best you can. I turned it over. I turned it over to I call God. For me, I'm a faith-based woman.
Sure.
Um, Not to insult anyone, that's just for me my life.
Right.
Um, I turned it over to God and just asked for direction on what to do with all this information and all these people that I see in front of me and how to process this. And my soul was just so intensely moved on
Wow.
after 5 years of sitting there figuring this out. I realized I didn't have to figure this out alone anymore. I didn't have to be alone anymore.
Right. That's a
Um,
huge thing.
so after being at the first peace meeting on a Zoom, I sat with my husband and said, I'm called to do something.
It's
And
awesome.
he said, what do you think it is? And I said, I'm called to do a vigil. I need to bring together other parents, other families, other people that are dealing with estrangement
Yeah.
and have a night that honors anyone. All are welcome to come and be present, light a candle for whoever it is they're hoping to heal that estrangement from,
Right.
and kind of turn it over so that they can realize they're not alone and realize that the best thing they can do is take some time to take care of themselves
Absolutely.
and let it go so that they can drop the rock and not feel like they're walking around with this burden by
Yeah.
themselves.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm called and moved to do a vigil,
Yeah.
and we're doing the vigil for estranged parents coming up on May 15th. And I asked Amy, after a month of knowing her, reaching out to her personally and saying, Amy, I'm called to do a vigil and I need you to be the speaker
Yeah.
if you will come. And she said, oh my goodness, Kara, of course I will come. So here she is in Wisconsin. And I said,
Right.
can we make this happen? And she said, what's the date you're looking at? And I said, well, it needs to be probably about a year away, but let's think on this. So I started just doing a little bit of research and found out that May 15th every year is the it's International Family Day.
Oh, okay.
And it's a day that is supposed to be to reflect on the good things that are going on in your family, as well as the challenges that you're facing as a
Sure.
family. So we decided if we're going to do a vigil in the evening, that we would take the evening, the daytime to reflect on the good things, and then take the evening to reflect on the challenges that we have so that we can turn them over and let them go.
Oh, that's awesome.
So May 15th is Wednesday this year, and came to the date came up and was agreed on by the church, my church, that has allowed us to come in and open our doors to everyone.
Yeah.
Um, they we are just Amy will come and speak as the main speaker that night.
Okay.
We will have myself. I will talk a little bit about some tools that have been used over the years,
Okay.
and suggestions that others have. We have a counselor who, a Dr. Claudette Demers Gendro, who is local here, who also in her family there has been estrangement, and
Oh,
so
okay.
she's knowledgeable in this area and will speak as well on some self-care and what to do. And then we will have Deacon Paul Klein, who is just a very spiritual vessel and just is amazing at helping people get on that other side and not stay on that fence
Right.
and just rethink things. So, and then at the end of that, there'll be some music there. We'll be lighting candles, and there will be a meet
Awesome.
and greet with some beverages and some desserts and things like that, and some resources shared. Amy has a whole page of resources on
Yeah.
her Peace website.
Yeah.
So we've gathered those all together, Dawn, and made it so
Awesome.
that she will have a resource table, and everyone will be available to chat at the end and talk to anyone who was speaking or anyone that was present. I have 10 volunteers to set up, 10 volunteers to clean up. Just
Wow.
so many people willing to participate. We have pamphlets already set up for everyone with the lineup of what's going on for the evening.
Now, are
It
some of
should
these
be.
people that are helping you volunteer, are they familiar? Do they have their own experience or?
They do. They do. Many of them
Wow.
do. A few of them are just close friends who have been
Yeah.
around the family and know. And then there
Yeah.
are those that also are part of the community that are wanting to be there and greet people at the door and say hello.
Yeah.
And just be present for the night. Just be
That's
present for the night.
sounds like such an awesome event. I wish I could be there. I'm not able to, but I wish I could be there.
Dawn, I
So
wish you could be there too. If I could have someone be there, it would be you.
I know, I know.
I would love you to be there.
Not to go totally backwards, but I did have a couple of questions that I thought people might be interested in. I thought of as we're talking.
Sure.
With your experience, how did your kids deal with the rest of your family, your extended family, your any siblings you might have, or your mom or dad or anything? How did
Yeah.
that go?
I have one sister,
Okay.
and the boys, the men, they're in their 30s now,
Mhm.
stay connected to her. My oldest primarily is very close with her, but my youngest also reaches out to her as well. Um, They do
Okay.
connect with my family, my mother and father, on special occasions, just to touch base and say hello.
Okay.
Uh, but it's the estrangement isn't a topic that is brought up. It's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit uncomfortable, just
Yeah.
because you don't want to create discourse. They don't want to create discourse, and move them further away from the family.
Yeah.
They want them to stay connected, and
Okay.
it's hard, but I respect that.
Yeah.
Um, I've come to terms with the fact, Dawn, that all I can do is wish and pray for a mentor for them to help them along in their life,
Yeah.
and turn them over and give them to God, and let them know, and just let them find their own way for their own lives.
Yeah.
And if the time is for them to come back while I'm still on this earth, I will feel blessed. Um, if not, I have. Can I talk about the God boxes?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, please.
I okay. I have boxes that I had made with my maiden name on them, because they loved my mother and father dearly.
Yeah.
And it's a Scottish name, and I have a Celtic tree on it, with on their
Oh, wow.
boxes. And then inside, whenever it's a holiday, they come up first. So I always go out and get a card for them first before I do the rest of the family, so that I can have peace in my soul for the rest of the holiday
That
and enjoy
day.
it with those that are around us.
Right.
So I just head out if I see something spiritual, if I see something with their name on it, if I see a token of love, anything, something from their childhood. It could be a song or a poem, or anything that moves my soul, that reminds me of each of them separately. I take it and I go to their boxes and I put them in their box. And the piece I have, I guess, Dawn, is knowing that my two bonus sons have let me know that if, God forbid, something should happen to me before I am able to see my own sons again,
Yeah.
that the first thing they will do is take the boxes and
Awesome.
bring them to their brothers, so that they can open them together and share them.
Yeah. So
And
out of
that
all of
means
the
the world.
yeah, so out of all of the pain that you've obviously gone through, it sounds like I'm sure that there's still times, but sounds like for the most part you've come out the other side and are making something good best you can of it.
Absolutely.
Even for them, that they'll have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's good for our whole family to. It's
Right.
like I said, my mother showed us how to reach out to humanity and reach out to others and change their lives.
Right.
And I feel that same calling, but I realize sometimes we are given challenges in our lives, and I know that as humans, we're all looking for purpose.
Right.
People search and search and search for purpose, Dawn. And sometimes I think if you just look within and see what is your biggest challenge, there are others out there that are dealing with it. And sometimes just sharing that challenge is your purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we're here for, so that we can connect together and help each other and help our brothers and sisters.
I am so thankful that you found peace, both the
Me too.
group and internal peace,
Yes,
um,
yes.
so that you could do this. I think it's a much, much needed thing. So, what would you say? I think you probably touched on it a little bit, but in this whole process of the estrangement, what would you say was your biggest challenge to go through it yourself?
Um, well, the initial bartering, a pain of acceptance,
Hmm.
that in itself was the huge challenge. But like I stated earlier, when being on that fence of, I just felt like I was in this gray area for so long,
Yeah.
and kept thinking, what is it going to take to, what do I need to do to get on that other side? When am I going to feel like I can live my life? When can I let go of all this and just turn it over? And you don't know, because as a parent, you're wanting so much to be there for your children all your life. That's when you have them from conception to
Right.
birth, to them growing older, supporting them through college years, whatever is to come, marriage, whatever it is for their lives, you can't. And like Amy says, this is a club you don't choose to belong to. And
Right.
when it happens, it's just so overwhelming.
It is.
And then to start taking care of yourself, because you want your children to know that you did.
Right.
Someday, someday I want my children to know that I have been taking care of myself to get on the other side, to be even more prepared if they choose to come back when that time is, when that divine timing comes.
Yeah.
But that fence was to give myself permission to, it's okay to go get another dog. It's okay to take that vacation, even though you always wanted to take that with them.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an opportunity to. It may not be what's intended. So it's learning to let go of what you thought it was going to be, and allowing the expectations. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And just kind of turning it over and accepting it is what it is. And so what do I need to do for myself, for my soul, to make it so that I have peace?
That's awesome. That is awesome. I think that's great. So you said it's May 15th.
I also have done, I was told to make up a separate business card to bring to the
awesome
vigil that night. And so, and to put a website for anyone coming to the vigil. So if they needed to reach out to find resources,
awesome,
or talk to someone who spoke that night, whatever comes up, I have a website that I created, and it's Cara NE Vigil @gmail.com. So Cara NE, like New England, then the word vigil @gmail.com. So if anyone wants me to send them the flyer, I can certainly do that. And anyone's welcome to email me as well. And I'm glad to, assist in any way. Again, I'm not a professional.
No worries.
But I'm just a resource, and I'm just a vessel.
Absolutely. I will make sure and have that information, and I will link it in the description of this video. So anybody who, I'll have the Peace website and that email address or that website, and all of that stuff, so that so it's all there for people. So very
Super,
good.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I would be interested in maybe, and I don't know, maybe you can answer it. If someone Googled God box, are there things out there, or is that just something from your upbringing of
not even my upbringing? It's just something that and I know Amy has mentioned that she has used the term God box too when we've talked about it. I don't know if anyone has. I'm sure people have written about it or used it as a tool. I don't know. I just know that for myself, I had to figure out, what do I do on holidays?
Absolutely.
What do I do when those milestones come up that I can't make contact? How do I spiritually make contact with them, knowing that the love and the care that I'm feeling in my heart is not denied and is put somewhere in safekeeping, so that someday when they can appreciate it, even after I'm gone, that they can then experience knowing my legacy is going to be a legacy of love. That's what I practice. Is my legacy will be a legacy of love, even even after I'm gone, when they get my God boxes someday. My legacy is a legacy of love, and that's my mantra.
I like that. I like that. I will remember that. I'll make that part of this whole thing. So very
Thanks,
cool.
Don.
Very cool. Well, I so appreciate you coming today. I know that, like I said earlier, I know that it's well, I know it's not easy sometimes talking about it. But I truly feel that the more people talking about it, the more we may not change the whole thing, but if we can help those people that are going through it, especially in the beginning, because that's the hardest time in my estimation.
Yes.
That we can just help some people, and I am so anxious to see how this vigil goes. So I will make sure, like I said, and I will link it in the description once I get all that information, and so that someone can reach out to you or Amy or whatever, however it's set up. Just remember, everybody out there, it will be. Oh, you also said that it was going to be on the church's website. Is that correct?
Yes,
Are they going to stream it?
That is going to be streamed on their website.
And then I will link that in the description as well, everyone. So if you can't make it, then you can log on and see it. At the very least, you can be a part of that community, the one that no one really wants to be a part of. So,
that's right. And if it goes well, Don, we'll continue again next year. And as a matter of fact, it's very. I had someone reached out to Amy from Florida, as a matter of fact, who has a reconciliation with her son for the first time in 14 years.
Oh, good.
And she reached out to me and said, I would love to be a speaker. Yeah. And I said, can I just put that on hold for right now, just for this year? But right. You continue on your journey, because if we do this for next year, if it's widely received and everyone feels that it was moving enough to
beneficial,
benefit their lives, this is something that we've talked about might continue on every year. So
that's awesome stuff. So